The Pakistan Army opened fire across the international border in Jammu and Kashmir, a day after ceasefire violations along the line of control continued for the sixth consecutive day. On the intervening night of April 29th and 30th, unprovoked small arms firing was also reported along the line of control in the Naushera, Sundarbani and Akhnur sectors. This is what Nazir Masoodi has been reporting from Ground Zero as well. Indian Army troops responded appropriately to the violations. You must note, but this is the biggest escalation by Pakistan. Take a look at my colleague Shiv Aroor's report from Ground Zero.
For the sixth night in a row, the Pakistan Army has violated the ceasefire on the line of control. And on the sixth night, last night, it has expanded the scope of these escalations beyond the line of control southward to the international border. Now, the reason why this is an escalation is because while things have been largely messy on the line of control with sporadic ceasefire violations ever since the 2003 ceasefire agreement and its renewal in 2021, the international border has largely been sacrosanct. There's a certain sanctity to it. There are many civilian areas there, and firing there, though not unprecedented, is rare and definitely an escalation in the context of the Pahalgam massacre. The fact that the scope of hostilities, the arc of hostilities is expanding to a larger number of sectors, to more Pakistan Army posts opening fire in this manner, basically shows that this is not a localized escalation. This is a directive that's come from the very top in an effort to create a heated situation on the line of control, to draw India's military focus to the line of control when the country actually perhaps has much larger plans as far as a retaliatory response to Pakistan is concerned. As of last night, the Indian Army has officially told us that whether it is Akhnur, Baramulla, Kupwara sector, Sundarbani, as well as Naushera sectors have seen ceasefire violations. We were reporting from the LOC at the Baramulla area yesterday, but the Pargawal area of the international border constitutes an expansion and an escalation and shows that the Pakistan Army is incrementally increasing the intensity of these violations. So far, the violations have been restricted to medium machine guns, light machine guns, that kind of thing. But Indian forces are on alert. Indian posts are on alert in case there is an escalation in the caliber of weapons, to things like mortars. Anti-tank missiles have been used in the past, rocket-propelled grenades, perhaps even artillery at some point if things continue on this escalatory track. But ceasefire violations per se, not uncommon on the line of control, but their expansion southward to the international border, which the Pargawal area constitutes, and is technically actually seen as kind of an LOC or a working border as far as Pakistan is concerned because it's part of Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, this is likely to escalate. There is a clear design and a directive from the Pakistani leadership. There's a huge amount of panic on the other side in terms of movements that are being discerned by Indian intelligence, by satellites, etc. There is a bit of a meltdown as far as the ambiguity of what India's next move is going to be. And a day after the Prime Minister talked about giving the armed forces full operational freedom to choose the mode, targets and timing of India's response, he's made it clear that there will be a military response, but he's left everything else completely ambiguous. So the scene shifts to the military, as it were, here in Jammu and Kashmir and perhaps elsewhere, but the ambiguity over it continues and continues to overwhelm Pakistan, both tactically, clearly at the line of control, but also strategically at the political and military level.
In fact, the map here shows all the areas where there has been firing across the boundary in the last 8 days. Take a quick look at it. The areas that are marked in yellow are places where there has been firing overnight, including cross-border firing in the Pargawal region. So this map clearly on your screens at the moment shows all the areas where there has been firing across the boundary in the last 8 days. The areas marked in yellow are places where there has been firing overnight, including cross-border firing in the Pargawal region. In fact, my colleague Nazir Masoodi has been tracking all the key developments for us on Ground Zero. He joins us live at the moment for further clarity. Nazir, major ceasefire violation by Pakistan. Many are questioning whether the Indian Army is likely to recalibrate its LOC strategy in light of these repeated provocations. But what are the latest details you can disclose to our viewers currently?
Well, across was 700 6-kilometer long line of control. It is heating up. There was ceasefire violations from Kupara, then Baramulla to right up to the Sundarbani, Naushera and Aknur. And then it expanded to the international border at Pargawal in Jammu. And if I see the Pakistani handles, perhaps Sialkot on the other side is feeling the heat of ceasefire violations. That was the India's response to the ceasefire violation last night, which was a sixth ceasefire violation on consecutive sixth night. So we know what this ceasefire has not been unusual along the line of control. Despite the ceasefire intact, there have been violations, but it has been playing out after Pahalgam attack when India is preparing its response. Let me tell you first, there's not any major army troop mobilization near the border or anywhere, be it in Jammu or be it in the line of control areas, Kupara or Bara. No troop mobilized. There may be discrete measures taken by the army, as we have been saying in our earlier reports, that it's always taking your adversary by surprise, the way exactly army did in 2016 after Uri attack on army in which 18 soldiers were killed, or the after Pulwama terror attack in 2019, Balakot strikes. In both the cases, Pakistan was taken by surprise what India did. Having said that, this time everybody at least understands what may happen. Pakistan is clearly rattled. India has already taken penalty actions in terms of suspending Indus Water Treaty, which is a huge step, which Pakistan termed that diverting in water will constitute an act of war and they will fight back. So having said that, things are really, very shaky on the ground. While we don't see any troop mobilization on the ground, we see regular ceasefire violations. They have now crossed reached this international border, and international border in the past has been very, very difficult when it comes to the common people, because large population lives in, whether it is from this Pargawal or it is Araspora, right up to Kutwa, and they have been the worst victims of the cross-border shelling in the past also, and they hope it doesn't escalate that way this time, because it is the common people living along the borders who bear the brand. What would be the India's response? Only military leadership would know, who have been given free hand by the Prime Minister to deal with the situation, choose their timing and the places of attacks, and it may not be the one place. So having said that, this is a situation everybody is keenly watching, but on the borders, it is the sixth consecutive day when we saw ceasefire violations, and it at a time when army is already dealing with multiple counter-militancy operations, particularly a major counter-terror operation which is going on for last 1 week in Pahalgam, but so far they don't appear to be closer to tracking down the attackers, which led to all this situation that was killing of 26 innocent people, 25 of them tourists.
Nazil, meanwhile, many are also curious about the local sentiment. What is the local sentiment in border villages? Do people feel safer after India's strong posturing, or more exposed due to Pakistan's violations?
Well, ceasefire violations have always hurt the common people the most. I remember before 2003, it was really hell on the line of control. People were living in bunkers, underground bunkers. Their houses were being destroyed. They would lose their life and limbs. Then Atal Bihari Vajpayee, then Prime Minister, offered a hand of friendship and ensured there's a ceasefire, which stayed for several years before it was again violated by Pakistan. In 2021, India and Pakistan renewed this ceasefire agreement or understanding in February 2021. There were three important things which Pakistan was supposed to abide by. Number one, not to send large militant groups into India. One or two that may not be every time in everybody's control. Number two, there should not be these bad actions, which is called border action teams. They resort to most inhuman beheading, mutilation of the soldiers on both sides. That is two. Number three, there should not be any major terror attack, like the massacre which happened in Pahalgam. So if you see on all these accounts, ceasefire, the spirit of the ceasefire has been violated long back. And it is the common people, for example, for last 4 years, they were really heaving a sigh of relief. They were going out freely without the fear of being targeted from across, going to, till their fields, going for farming, going for regular work. And now they are fearing that something horrible may happen if there's a clash, major clash on the borders. It is the people living on the borders who bear the brunt, who suffer the most, and they are the most worried people. And also in Srinagar and other parts of the valley, I have already seen some people are seeing something ominous may be happening. There's already reduced traffic. You can see literally in some places deserted. It's not just Pahalgam where I was showing you yesterday. Number of tourists have come down. Not many people are going outside their homes. Lots of things have happening because there's a lot of suspense on the ground, and we see two things. Number one, massive anti-terror operations which are going on, and also at the same time border ceasefire violation. In a sense, army is dealing with two-front challenge.